Jenna, and today I'm doing my April wrap-up and May TBR. Yes, my April wrap-up and my May TBR. Oh my goodness, I was just like, what month is it? So in the month of April, I managed to read 5 books, but I have included a book that I finished on the 1st of May because I read the majority of it in April. So I am pretty happy with the amount of books that I managed to read, considering I've had not great reading months in the past. 6 books is pretty good. I'm going to just jump straight in. There was one reason why I kind of fell into a little bit of a reading slump during the month, but I will explain that as we go. So, the first book that I finished this month was finally my reread of Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, which I kept at my original rating of 3 out of 5 stars. The series is not for me, okay? This series is, it's not. It's a carbon copy of City of Bones. The characters are so dull. I don't like any of them. Like, I don't like Will. He pisses me off to no end. Jem, I kind of like a little bit. Like, if I had to pick a character, it would be Jem that I would like. Tessa frustrates me to no end. Oh my goodness. She's just like, ugh. I can't with her. I cannot. She is so annoying. And if one more person tells me that Will Herondale is the best fictional character ever written, I am probably going to punch them in the face. That's all I'm going to say about this book, or else I'm going to get really angry, but like, really not a fan. But in case I didn't say it, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because it did have a couple of those moments where I was like, okay, yeah, this isn't too bad, but for them, just no. Next up, I finished a book for university, and that was Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy, and I gave this one a 2 out of 5 stars. This book sucked. It was not a good book. So I was actually listening to this one on audiobook because I just couldn't get through the actual physical copy of it, and I was playing Sims while I was listening to it, so I was listening to it, but I still managed to get through it, and I still understand like everything that happened in the book, so I'm counting it. Oh man. So we just have to say massive trigger warnings for suicide, incest, animal cruelty, and depression, because like, holy shit, this book has it all, not in a good way. I don't recommend it, not even going to go into what it's about because I cannot not recommend this book enough. The third book I read this month was the YA Circle's April book of the month, and that was Neverland by Margot McGovern, and I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. Okie dokie. So what is hokey dokey? How did this happen? Anyway, Neverland is an amazing book, and you all seriously need to read it. So Neverland follows a girl named Kit who returns to the island of Neverland, not the Peter Pan one, but the one that she grew up on, where her uncle has now created a sort of home institution school for students who are unable to go to school on the mainland because they have mental illnesses. Kit comes back to this island for the first time as an actual patient, as she has been going through some really rough times in the last couple of years, and from there she really has to determine what is real, what is not, what is part of the fantasy that she grew up with, and what she needs to do in order to work her way through her illness and to really get better. Oh my goodness, I was crying so much reading this book. I couldn't quite figure out what was going on, but like I also could. It's one of those things where we had a really unreliable narrator. Like, I would count Kit as an unreliable narrator because she'd be saying things that were happening, and in the back of your mind you're going, that's not happening, because it's not that kind of book. It's not like a magical realism book. There's not magic in it. It's literally these kids who are ill and need help, and it was beautifully done, brilliantly written, really raw and emotional, packs a punch, and I like was sobbing for many hours after reading this book. Next up, I finished finally the Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince audiobook by J.K. Rowling, read by Stephen Fry. Gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars, as I've been doing with all the books, because they are amazingly beautiful. I have to say, how is it that these books still make me emotional as heck? Like, I know everything that's coming, yet I was walking around Melbourne listening to the end of Half-Blood Prince and pretty much sobbing. Like, I was trying to stop myself from crying in public because, you know, things were happening, lightning struck tower and all that, and it was very upsetting. Amazing book, love it to pieces, love the audiobook series. I can't believe I'm almost done now. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I finish. I'm really unsure, but I'm really glad that I got that one done, and now I get to listen to Deathly Hallows and be super emotional all the time. I'm gonna have a filming break so I can play the Harry Potter mystery game because my energy is full, so I can go to the Alohomora class. I'm so excited. Anyone else playing this game? Because this game is literally amazing. So the 5th book that I read this month was Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare, and I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. So this series is definitely not for me. It's not for me. I know so many people think it's like a million times better than the Mortal Instruments, and my friend is like one of them because she's reading them at the same time as me. And I'm like, I get that it's kind of more mature and it's written better than Mortal Instruments, but I don't like the characters. They're so repetitive and make stupid decisions, and I don't like the plot because it's stupid, and Mortmain, or the Magister or whatever his name is the stupidest, most weakest villain ever. He is so pointless. He does nothing. He does nothing. I'm not even sure we saw him in this book. I can't remember. This is the reason why I fell into a reading slump. It took me like 2 weeks to read this because I was so annoyed with it. So honestly, I feel like I should be calling Tessa Clary at this point because they are so interchangeable. It's not funny. And also, I don't like Tessa. Stop two-timing these boys. It's not right. It's not what you should be doing. You're in Victorian London. You should not be two-timing anyone. No, you shouldn't. You should not be two-timing anyone. Like, I don't care if you have confusing feelings. Get over it. Pick one. Okay, yep. I feel very passionately about this, I have to say. The only characters worth anything are Jem, Henry, and Sophie. Love them to pieces. But like, everyone else, why do I bother? I don't know. Why do I bother? The villain is so pointless. I don't remember seeing him in like the last 400 pages, and they keep saying they're like, oh, he's got a plan. Does he though? Does he have a plan? Or is he just hoping things happen? I feel like he's just hoping things happen because like, if he has a plan, I haven't seen it yet. The whole book had nothing to do with the Magister. It all had to do with Tessa picking between freaking Will and Jem, and I don't care about that. So the only reason why this book is actually getting 3 stars and not like 0 is because it did have some OMG moments that shocked me. It did have some genuine moments that I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. What? That was good. That's the only reason why this book is getting the rating that it is, because it did have some moments where even I was like, I actually didn't see that coming. That's pretty cool. Look, I am aware that I have a super duper unpopular opinion when it comes to this trilogy. A lot of people prefer it to Mortal Instruments, but honestly, Will Herondale, not worth your time, people. This series, not really worth your time at all. Only read it if you like don't want to be spoiled from when you read Heavenly Fire, but it's just not worth it. And the final book that I read this month that I actually finished on the 1st day of May was Whisper by Lynette Noni, and I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. This book is so good. It's the first book in a new series by Lynette, and it just blows my mind. And it's so dark outside and this lighting is so terrible, but everything's fine. I have so many questions coming out of this book. It's not funny. I loved each and every one of the characters. I love the fact that we don't have a romance. It's so refreshing, especially after reading that travesty of a love triangle. It's just, oh, it's beautiful and I love it so much. I've done a full book review of this one, which is actually up on my channel at the moment. I will leave a link to it in the description box below, so definitely check that one out if you want to learn more of my full thoughts. So there we go. Those are the 6 books that I read in April, which is pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy. Now I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the books that I am planning on reading in May. That includes the YA Circle Book Club Book of the Month. That includes the TBR Jar Challenge, any uni books, and also any Shadowhunter Chronicles books that I am planning on reading. And I also have one more very exciting book to show you just because I'm halfway through it already. So we're going to start with the exciting book that I'm halfway through. That is, of course, The Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas. Like, of course I'm reading this book this month. What? It's so short. It's so beautiful. It's so short, but like I'm actually taking my time. My original plan was I was just going to binge it on the first, but like I'm only up to page, I haven't even hit page 100 yet, and I'm like, I'm just going to cruise along, take my time. Normally because like when I sit down to read it, it's nighttime and I'm exhausted and I just want to go to sleep. So that's fun. I won't say too much about what this is about. All I will say is that it follows characters after the events of Aka War and is beautiful and I love it so much so far. So recommend this one if you have read the Akator series. Oh my goodness, this is the part where I give up on BookTube, honestly. Next up we have the YA Circle Book Club's Book of the Month for May, and that is Lifelike by J. Kristoff. I would give you a blurb, but I don't actually have one. So let's read the thing on the front. It's Romeo and Juliet meets Mad Max meets X-Men with a little bit of Blade Runner cheering from the sidelines. I don't understand. It's a cool cover though. Look, it's so shiny. I don't really know what it's about. I'm excited to read it. It will be my first solo J. Kristoff book that I've ever read. The only book of his I've ever read is Illuminate, which he co-wrote with Amy Kaufman. So I'm curious as to how it's gonna go, what I'm gonna think of it. So I will give it a go, I guess. Oh, this is turning into a train wreck of a video. Next up is university books, and the only book I have left to read is A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. If you guys were around on my channel during the Mrs. Dalloway days, you would know that I hate Virginia Woolf so much. I hate Virginia Woolf more than life itself. It's really short, but it's also technically a long essay, so I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. It's like 40 pages or something. No, it's like 100 pages. Okay, why did I think it was 40 pages? It's 4 chapters, so I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't want to read it. And then we have the Shadowhunter book that I'm planning on reading. Only the one this month because this is the month where uni is biting my butt. I have like a gajillion assignments and they're all over 2,000 words and I'm just terrified to do any of them. So the only Shadowhunter book that I'm planning on reading this month is Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. Why I want to read this book, I don't know. I just want it to be over. I just want it to finish. I don't want to read this series anymore. I want to keep reading the Shadowhunter Chronicles. I want to keep reading Mortal Instruments and I do want to try Dark Artifices, but I don't want to read this one. I don't. And it's so long. Look how fat it is. This is the third book in the Inferno Devices trilogy and thank goodness it is the last one. It's got so much to do with the love triangle and I'm just not into love triangles and I just... And now for the TBR jar challenge. This is always so much fun. Let's get a good one though because I've had some crappy ones recently. What are you? Da, 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 da. Read a book with over 500 pages. This is 500. Okay, that was weird. This is like 560 something pages, so it's a book that I can read with over 500 pages. Boom! Not gonna pick another one because I'm actually not convinced I'll get through all these books. Like there's only the four of them, yeah, but I'm not convinced I'll get through them all because number one, this is gonna take me forever to get through because like reading slumps. And I'm a little nervous about how much uni work I've got to do, so probably won't be doing a lot of reading. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you read in April and what you're planning on reading in May. I would absolutely love to know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.